He can hear us.
If you can hear us, wave. Ooh, I realized that thing wasn't on. The mic wasn't on.
Oh, hi.
Hi. If you can hear us, yeah, the mic's on now.
That's funny.
Yeah. So sorry about that. My computer crashed. It kerneled on me. It gave me the blue screen of revival, which I was like, oh, I did not need that 2 minutes right before.
It was waiting for me.
Yeah, I guess it was waiting for you.
Yeah.
So before we begin with today's topic, once again, we have to do our plugs. And our main plug is Red River Paper that we're partner with. So we're basically, I guess, those brand ambassadors where we explain about Red River Paper, that they have paper that works well with Epson, Canon, and HP paper. They even have profiles to help you use with those paper, and they actually tell you how to set up your printer to print out great quality work. Ain't that right?
Yep. And it works for photographers as well.
Yeah. Photographers, artists, maybe you do greeting cards. They have stuff for greeting cards. So that's something to look forward to. Now, let's get into our topic of discussion. And our topic of discussion is kids and sports. How is it beneficial? Right? What's your take on it? Art.
So, obviously, it is beneficial. The obvious part is the movement, which we all need for various reasons. It keeps them busy. Well, it keeps us busy too. Yeah. Since we're the ones who will be taking them where they're going, but it keeps them busy, keeps them focused. It gives them, discipline.
Right. Now, depending on what the sport is, the sport can be baseball. Hey, Daryl. Baseball, football, soccer,
gymnastics,
hockey, gymnastics, martial arts. They're all good. All those different sports are good and are beneficial to a child's well-being. It gives them, like you said, it gives them focus. It helps with their social skills. It does. For communication. And sometimes when you play a sport, you build long-lasting relationships being on a team.
Not only that, it also helps. Being on a team is really, you have to have that mentality of, it's not just me.
Yes. Which is also another thing. Mm-hmm. Now, I would have to say that it also helps with the body. Especially, you're getting healthier, you're understanding how understanding how your body moves, understanding how strong you can get. You're basically pushing the limits in sports, I pretty much say.
Yeah, you're using muscles you never used before. You're building muscle, building stamina, all those basic, I guess, obvious stuff.
Yeah.
But I think one of the most important parts is the team building situation. Learning how to deal with different personalities and making yourself part of something, and it's not just you, pass it to me all the time. If you're the best, I guess everybody will have to acknowledge that you are, but everybody has to play together to help the best win.
Yeah, that is also true. And for parents, I think they enjoy seeing their child playing in a sport because it helps them out. It gives them an opportunity to see their child shine, to see how their child loves the sport that they enjoy doing.
I think it also helps them by literally, in this day and age, keep the kids busy.
Yes.
Because there are so many distractions out there, and there are so many distractions that are not, what's the word I'm looking for? You're not moving.
Right.
You're moving your thumb.
You're moving your thumb. Like you're playing video games and you're using your fingers, but it's not. I mean, now video games with esports have become a sport, but you're just sitting on the couch with using your thumbs. You're not using your lungs. You're not using your heart. You're not using your muscles and whatnot.
Exactly.
Now our daughter Dahlia, she's in gymnastics. She likes it. And she's enjoying it. She wants to hopefully go to the Olympics one day. Our nephew Gerald, he's on the football team, he's on the baseball team, so hopefully he'll go to college, and whether or not he wants to make that a career or not, we don't know yet. I know his parents are happy, my parents are happy with the kids and whatnot. No, we couldn't really get Joy to do a sport. Well, I mean, she was doing martial arts, but
everybody's different.
We're
still working on it.
Yeah, we're trying to work on it. But I mean, she's 17 years old, so she's not active into doing sports now. I think she's going to be active later.
Yeah, she loves her art.
She loves her art and everything else. But sometimes we do have to push her to move. Now, I would say there is a con when it comes to that, though.
Tell me.
Okay, so I'm going to start on the adult side.
Okay.
When you have you ever seen those parents at the baseball games, and they're like just screaming at the umpire or at the other kids and whatnot? I mean, I've seen videos where parents actually attack the other kid.
I know.
Which I'm like, yo, what are you doing? Why are you attacking this other kid? Like, what's wrong with you? And they have no care in the world because they want their child to be number one. But I'm like, yeah, but you're destroying your child's future by being that parent. By being that parent, you're destroying your child's future.
And demonstrating exactly what they're not supposed to do.
Right. And you're demonstrating, you're telling your child that that's okay. And it's not. It's not okay. It's not something that I don't like, and I've seen it. I know a lot of parents also sometimes you may have that one parent who pushes their kid into sports because they want to live vicariously through their kid.
There's that too.
Which to me is sometimes something I'm like, yeah, no, I'm not really feeling that, you trying to like relive your glory days of sports through your child. That's not cool, Yeah.
I mean, I'll say that about this. It's not bad that they want to relive their glory days, I guess. There's a certain way of doing it. You can encourage your kid. You can, be your kid's biggest fan and all that stuff. But once you cross the line of getting in somebody else's face or pushing in a way that is really out of line, then you can't do that. But most of us I think live vicariously through our kids.
Yeah, at one point or another.
At one point or another. You just have to do it the right way.
I don't know what you think.
What are you trying to do here?
Okay,
I see.
Yeah, but I'm also trying to make sure I wanted to show the teeth.
Oh.
So I wanted to put some crazy logo here. I mean, I'm going to change the color of the surfboard. I'm going to make the surfboard.
Are you going to outline the bottom to show the teeth, or are you going to make the legs much lighter? I don't know. What are you going to do?
Well, I might make the legs a little bit lighter, or I might just, or I might just say, screw the teeth.
Yeah.
Let's see. I think
It
that's
looks
that's nice. I like that. I like
nice.
I want to keep that.
Okay.
You know.
Mhm. Mhm.
It's a weird looking octopus, but hey,
Doesn't matter.
it doesn't matter.
It's different. It's a
Yeah.
different design. Mhm.
Just merge that there. Right. So,
Yeah. Is
But-
there another bad thing?
no. Oh, well, there's a couple of bad things, but I want to start with the parents.
Okay.
Also, when you have the parents try to sabotage another player because they want their child to be number one. There's been
Well-
stories about that. Also, there's that one story my parents told us about when Gerald started playing football. So, you know, my nephew was playing when he started playing football. He was playing young, very young, and he was on the football team. And what ended up happening was that year his team was actually doing very well. They were winning a lot of games. I think they were undefeated that year. So they go to this away game. They're beating this other team, and the parents are literally cursing out his team, the parent, you know, and they basically said, "You better get out of here. We're going." And it was like, and I'm looking up. I think I talked to my mom about. They were telling me. I said, "How old were these people?" They said they were their brother's age, and I was like, "Oh, so kids raising kids,
Kids
huh?"
raising kids. Yeah. That's another topic.
That's yeah. I was like, wow. I said that's just bad all the way around. I mean, the fact that you have parents like that just doing that, but you know, you hear it all the time. You hear parents attacking other soccer players. Oh, we also forgot track and field. It's also a sport.
Well, of course.
Track and field wrestling.
You can't name all.
Yeah, we can't name all of them. But that's also a thing. Now, a con also is you may end up having bad coaches who give your kids bad advices.
Yes.
So as parents, you know, you always want to look at the coach, look at the team overall, look at the organization, see how they organize. Like one parent, when Dahlia when we went into Manhattan for Dahlia's gymnastic meet, the guy was like, "Yo, where's your gym located?" And I explained to him where it was, and he says, "Oh, that's by my house." I said, "Yeah." He goes, "You should come try it out." He goes, "Yeah, I am, because I like how your coach is on them, hands on." I guess the other coach really wasn't a hands on person, wasn't talking with them and whatnot.
Yeah,
so
we could see that too.
We saw it. I mean, it was just weird the way it was working, but it was just like he was very impressed with how everything was. I think I'm gonna leave this like that.
Okay.
All right. I had placed that there, but I might change the color. So what color should we make this? Should we make it like a?
But wait a second. You said you're gonna change the background.
Well, I'm gonna change the surfboard, the color of the surfboard. But I'm trying to figure out, should I leave this black?
I was thinking you should,
Leave this
because
black.
I really like it.
Let's make this red.
Oh.
All right, we're getting something there. This I'm gonna make off white, not entirely white. Well, no, I'm gonna make it white because this is gonna be like a highlight for the water.
Oh, okay.
So let's just go white. Let's see how that looks. All right, that's not too bad.
I like it.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
reminds me. Yeah, it's not bad.
It's not bad.
It's not bad at all.
I like it.
Yeah, I like it a lot too. So, back to the cons where you have to look at everything as a whole, especially with the organization and everything else, because there are stories, even that doctor who's serving life for what he did to those gym girls. That was just bad overall because
I can't even get into that.
yeah,
That's just insane.
that was just crazy. I was just like, ugh. But another con is kids. Now, sometimes as the kids get older, they get into college and everything else, And in sports, sometimes they may be pushed into maybe taking sports enhancement drugs, steroids, and the pressure gets to them because it's like, well, you want to perform better. You have to perform better. And then sometimes they don't listen to their bodies when their bodies are hurt. They don't, there's a lot of stuff that that's not really, that they have to be able to watch out for. And at the same time, advocate for themselves.
Yep.
Now, which when it comes to Dahlia, when she goes to college for gymnastics, that's something she has to think. She has to think about, like, yo, make sure this coach has your best interests at heart, and it's just not there to like, yo, we need to win, we need a medal, you need to do this, you need to do that. Now, from my experience on being on the team, well, actually, we're going to save that for the tail end of this topic. But also, look, the next one, it's actually both a con. It's actually a pro and a con, and that's time management.
Yes.
Because you have to be able to manage your time if you're on a team. You have to make practice at a certain time. You can't goof around at a certain time. For instance, Deion Sanders, he's teaching college coach, and there's videos of him just ripping into his players because they're not doing what they're supposed to do. Yeah. This is another thing. You have to do what you're supposed to do. You just can't sit there and be like, oh, well, especially when in college. Well, in college and high school, you can't sit there and be partying and then you have a game the next day.
Yes.
You can't, hence time management. You can't sit there and be hanging out somewhere where you're not supposed to be hanging out when you have a game the next day.
And then there's the homework. Now, one thing is that when it comes to the homework, you have to be able to do your homework when it's due. You can't sit there and be on a team and then not do your homework and be like, well, because I'm on a team, I'm going to get a break. It doesn't usually work that way. I don't think they allow that at all anymore.
Well, I don't know how it is. I don't know how it is in college.
No, they don't allow that.
They probably don't.
You have to keep a certain average.
Yeah, to stay on the team. I know in college what players tend to do, they tend to take the easy courses. So this way, I don't know. That's what I heard, but I don't know if it's true or not to this day, depending on what your scheduling is. But it's one of those things. I do know with Dahlia, she stays up late doing her homework, and sometimes I'm like, listen, maybe you should go to practice that day and finish.
You can't miss
practice.
And
you can't miss, and that's another thing. Sometimes you can't miss practice.
You can't miss practice just because unless you have some kind of big project and you really need to focus on that or whatever, which I think it might be excusable.
Yeah. Now, this is also another thing that you have to watch out for when I say organization, time management, and everything else. If you have a coach that's not working with you when it comes to time management, especially if you're a student, and you have to listen, he has to do this, he has to do that. Some coaches will understand because, these kids go to school. Right. Other coaches are like, no, you need to come and blah, 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 blah. You need to bring them, or I need them and whatnot, and X, Y, and Z. Now, in my opinion, that's not good. Because most coaches should understand that, this kid has maybe an event going on and they can't make it. Maybe they're injured and they can't make it. So,
they're going to have to understand the injured part.
they have to understand the injured part. Some coaches do, some coaches don't.
I know, they try to push.
And they want to push. And then next you know, you have a broken player who can't do it anymore.
But I think in today's culture, they're more tolerant of
Yeah.
that because people are not putting up with that anymore.
No, in the past they weren't. It's like you gonna do this and just take it and because do you really want this? Do you want to be on this team first and everything else? Which to me, I was like, well, yeah, my team whatnot, needs me and might need me and everything else. Now, for the next part, for the next con, sometimes on teams, you do have that alpha mentality where you have that one player where if they mess up, it's okay, but if you mess up, it's always an issue. And you'd be like, yeah, but you messed up. I don't care. It's you. And blah, 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 blah. And then you sit there, you're like, yo.
I don't know that part.
Yeah, that's like I said, that's part of that's another story I'll tell you. I'm going to leave, because I've been on 3 sports teams. So I'll explain that part. But also, you end up having to deal with that one R word that our daughter experienced with another teammate, and that's racism. Sometimes you may deal with that. You may have a player who, because of the color of your skin, where you're from, they might think, oh, you don't belong on this team. How did you get on this team? Why are you playing here? You should go back. People like you shouldn't be doing this sports. And that has happened. You know,
of course.
That has happened. Now, the big issue now is with transgenders.
Oh, yeah.
Some people don't want, like me, if you want to play a sport, you want to play a sport. But there was one instance, and I understand with women, they're like, yo, this used to be a man, and now they're playing in sport, and now they're beating us, but it's like, we're supposed to be, you know, and whatnot. And, you know, that you have one side that's understandable. Me, I think, and this is my opinion, that, you know, you have male, female, and then you have transgender. It should be like that. That's my opinion. You know, some people are like, oh, no. I'm like, no, because, and I'm going to tell you why. So a couple of years ago, I was listening to Joe Rogan Experience. And I think he mentioned it. Either I think he mentioned it, or I saw it on YouTube, or maybe I was listening and I was watching both.
Okay.
I couldn't tell you. But this man who transitioned to a woman, and he looked like a giant. Let's just say, if I was to fight this dude, it'll be a hard fight. And I take martial arts, and he was in an MMA match against a woman,
Right.
and beat her to a pulp.
Yeah.
I'm sitting there going, first off, who allowed this match to happen?
Exactly.
Who in their right mind allowed this match to happen? And this is where I come in, where I said, her coach, her team should have said no.
Exactly.
They said, we're not doing this. There was a huge height advantage, huge weight advantage. And her face was just bloodied. It's like, she didn't even last, I don't think she lasted the first round.
Oh my God.
And he's sitting there and happy and all this other stuff. And I was like, you just beat up a woman in an MMA cage match. And it was also one of those cage MMA fights where it was an amateur thing. But usually amateurs, they have rules.
Right.
As a ref, I'd be like, no, we're not doing this. Because you need to either A, find someone your height, your build,
Right.
or fight another dude. Even though you classify yourself as a woman, you need to find someone your height, your weight, or something like that. Because I was just sitting there going, yo, what the hell? And like, I don't remember everything, but some of the comments I read, it was like they were just roasting that guy.
Well, as they should, because that should not have been allowed.
Yeah.
At all.
At all. And I was just like, what? I'm just sitting there going, what in the world? Like, who, what? I was like, who's mama?
No, the coaches
Yeah.
should have been smarter about it.
Yeah. Now, don't get me wrong. In Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu matches nowadays with the kids, they allow boys and girls to grapple with each other.
Which is fine.
Which is fine, because in some of these videos, these girls are beating these guys. And I was like, ooh. that's messed up. I was like, ooh.
I feel like as long as you're the same weight.
Yeah, and they tend to be the same.
Build,
they tend to be the same weight and similar
fight.
Right. But that fight, I mean, if you want to go online and look for it, I'm pretty sure it's online. But that fight, it was.
What?
Oh no, No, I was just looking at this. I was just realizing something.
Oh, I thought somebody was calling me. Hold on, let me see.
Oh, check it. Oh, yeah. So it's spring break here in New York. So everyone's home from spring break. I told the girls you got to clean the basement. Help their mom clean the basement, and already I got. Oh, you're ruining our experience, Dad. Why do we have to do that? Why do we have to clean the basement? You're ruining the experience. We don't want to do nothing. We're on a break. Like, hey, you're home. You gotta clean up. You just can't sit around all day and not do nothing. You know? So, before I tell my story, but another thing is that I think with kids playing sports, it's always a positive thing. You know, it gets them out there. It gets them talking with other people. It builds self-confidence. It builds character. Also, it builds respect. You know? It builds respect. Because they learn to respect themselves. They learn to respect their teammates. They learn to respect their elders. They should already be respecting, you know, their parents and whatnot, but it builds character. Like I was telling Arlie, I was on 3 different sports teams. I played football for 1 year. I was on the basketball team for 1 year in my senior year of junior high school. And then I was on the volleyball team for my high school for 3 years. So I have different stories to tell and whatnot, which is always, a lot of them were funny, a lot of them weren't, a lot of them were like, yo, what? and some were actually life lessons of certain things, like if you're going to do something, make sure you're able to do it and don't waste your parents' money. So, but I'll wait for her to get back and we'll take a quick break about talking about that. So, let's look at this here. So last week, if you joined us, I was working on a beach towel. So, but if you follow us on Instagram, TikTok, or Facebook, you might have saw a video where I said, how can I make this better? Well, what I did was, I drew this. I'm just showing it on one camera. I drew it out. Zoom out a bit, and I said, let me change this up a bit. One person gave me advice on TikTok about, hey, give it a slight curvature on the horizon to show that it's not just flat. Give it a nice little curvature. And I looked at it, I said, hey, that's not a bad idea. And, you know, I also wanted to show that this part of the surfboard is actually on top of a wave. So to give you the idea, like, oh, he's on top of a wave, and he's about to surf. This person's about to surf the wave. But it's funny how when you come up with an idea for something, right? Another idea happened in my head. I started sketching it while I was at work because I was like, oh, I didn't even, and thinking about it actually made me thought back. Actually had me thinking about a show I used to watch. This anime show about cloud surf. This person who cloud surf. If you know what I'm talking about, type it in the chat. If you know exactly what I'm talking about, type it in the chat. So, and then just mention that show where they're cloud surfing. There was mechs and all this other stuff. It was almost like a teenage love story. But they're surfing through the clouds on boards, and with giant robots. So, which was cool. Let's see. Another thing when it comes to children in sports is that sometimes it can lead to a career. Like, if I know in certain places some people play sports because they want to make a career out of it. For maybe they have the love for a game. Maybe it's a way for them to get out of a situation. Maybe it's their living situation. Maybe they see this as, well, if I can do this and I can get into the majors, I can then maybe find a better living situation for myself or for my parents and family, which is also good. Now, I just thought about this, and which is crazy, but there's also a con when you have a child in sports and they're about to be famous. Sometimes you may have a parent that's not in the picture, right? And all of a sudden, they see their child playing sports, becoming famous, and all of a sudden, they want to ease their way back into their child's life because they see their child being very good at the sport. And they can say, hey, maybe I can take advantage of this. Maybe because my child is being famous, I can use that to my advantage. Don't get me wrong. Sometimes he may have both parents, that the child may have both parents in his life, in his or her life, and they see this as a money grab. It happens.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Okay.
So the one thing that I want to talk about is my experience playing. Let's start off with me playing football. So in junior high school, I tried out for playing football. I played for the neighborhood football team, the same one that Joe plays for. But there was a slight problem. I was enjoying it, but there was a slight problem. And I thought maybe I can get home in time and make practice. And there was those instances what I did was that because my junior high school was in Jackson Heights and I lived in Walton, I had to take the yellow bus. Sometimes the yellow bus and the driver was always late getting us home. Mm-hmm. So I would miss practice. It got to the point where I just couldn't do it anymore. On a rare occasion when we didn't have them, so let's just put it this way. Practice was, I believe, at 5, and I was getting home at 5:30, 6 o'clock.
Yeah, that's not gonna work.
When we didn't have them, I was getting home at 4:30. And I was like, yeah, great. Of course, I didn't have my house keys yet.
You had everything working against you.
I had everything working against me. I couldn't get my grandparents to help me. Which sucked. So I was like, at least I did it. So, which was fun, and I learned, I had my ups and downs with it, but I always wondered if I was able to, if I had lived in the area.
Yeah.
I mean, if I had gone to school in the area, would I have been able to, see what would have happened?
Probably.
It
would have been easier.
It would have been easier. Now, that's fast forward for when I got into my senior junior high school. I decided to join try out for the basketball team. I figured, let me do it my senior year. I got on. I was a JV, and I played a couple of games and whatnot. But here's the kicker about how I said you always have that alpha mentality. Mm-hmm. So we were losing, right? We were losing. I didn't remember that part, right? Now, you had the starters in there, and they really wasn't, if I remember correctly, they really wasn't doing too well neither. So I finally got in. I got an open. I was at the 3-point line. I figured, take the shot. Take the shot. At least you took a shot and you tried. Of course, it sailed over the thing. If I remember correctly, it sailed over the basket. because I was at the side. So imagine being on the left side of the wing. You shoot, it goes over the basket, and the person on my team didn't rebound, and the other person did it, and they scored. So after the game, the guy was like, "How'd you miss that?" Blah, blah, blah. And I was like, "But you didn't do any better." "It doesn't matter. That's why I'm a starter." But you didn't do any better. You know what I mean? Which I shake my head as like, but he didn't do any better. None of them did any better.
He did.
Yeah. But you see, that's where you sometimes have to deal with that type of mentality.
Yeah.
Now, fast forward my sophomore year, high school, I joined the volleyball team. You know, I get on, it's great, having fun, whatnot. Now that was cool. We got into the playoffs the first time around. No, I'm trying to think. Did we get into the playoffs my first year? No, because I had gotten hurt.
Oh.
And I had my ankle in a cast, so I didn't get the chance to go to the playoffs that time.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Yeah. No, I got injured in my junior year, and I didn't get into the playoffs.
Mm.
I didn't get to go to the playoffs, but we went into the playoffs our senior year. Got eliminated the first round. But you know, that was pretty good and everything else. We did have the one hiccup in our senior year when we got into the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
And guys and girls, this is why I said, don't be playing around when you have an obligation to your team. So our team captain and one other student decided to do graffiti on the playground of the school, and the dude wrote his name.
Oh, that's very smart.
Our team captain, our team co-captain.
That's very smart.
That was very smart. I was like, you are kidding me.
Hey, he
Right?
wanted to be famous?
And I forgot what the other guy did.
Mm.
And we were like, the day before we go to the playoffs. No, she did it the day of we were at the playoffs.
Very nice.
So our coach, the day of the playoffs, we've been practicing, decides to bench them both. And he said, no matter how far we got,
mm-hmm.
she says, you guys are not playing in the playoffs. And we're all sitting there going, wait, what? Like, you just do this? Like, I think, in a sense, because her husband used to coach us, in a sense, he was like, you shouldn't have done it then. You should have done it at the school prior to going there, because these guys are thinking about, okay, what they're not their head's not. Our head wasn't in the game, right? And he's sitting there, and we had the one guy who I think you heard the story. I'm not going to say his name, but remember the story that me, Dwayne, and Wesley tell about that one kid who always, when we played basketball, he was just screaming rage. Yeah, he was the other kid. So it was like, whoa. But you know, we had fun. The funny thing is, so art and design has I don't know if they still do it. They probably still do. They do a fashion show, right? And some of our friends were, one was in the fashion show, and sometimes we would rush back for the fashion show. But what would happen is that this one time, we're trying to go through the game quick, and our coach is like, listen, I know what you guys are doing.
Yeah, how are you going to go through the game quick?
She says, I know what you're doing. You guys want to get back there. See these girls, what they're wearing for this fashion show. We're like, no, we're good. She goes, no, I know what you're doing because I'm also in the fashion show. So she says, cut the BS, play the game. or come Monday, you guys are gonna be running laps like it's nobody's business. We're like, I mean, we won,
Good.
but it was like we're like, yeah, but but it just shows you some of the hijinks we went through, on that through those 3 years of the stuff we did.
Oh my goodness. I gotta excuse myself again.
So like I said, being on the team is fun. Of course, School of Visual Arts at the time didn't have a sports team. I don't know if they have a sports team or not. I never heard, but I never heard of an art school having a sports team. So who knows? Yeah. So that's my story of my experience. Were there times when I had arguments with my teammates? Yes. Were there one fight where punches were thrown and everything else? That happens, but you shouldn't be fighting your teammate. There are times when you may have disagreements. There are times when I had to miss a couple of games because I had to boost up my grades during high school. And the coach was okay about that. Because I had to make sure I had to pass the test or I couldn't do volleyball. So I'm glad I had passed that test, barely. But yeah, there's aspects where you have to keep up your grades. So, kids, if you want to play sports, or parents, make sure if you're watching this on a repeat or something. And yeah, kids, if you're playing sports, you got to keep up your grades. Now, Dolly is a 90 average student, so we give her some leeway with certain things because she's always doing her work, so which is good. Let's see. Now, what type of sport should you put your kid in? Maybe we should have done that first early on, but I would say that depends on your child. What does your child want to do? Do you have a boy who's very tall and very strong? Maybe you want to put him in football or basketball. And just test that out. Test out those waters. Do you have a child that's skinny but runs very fast? Maybe track and field is their territory. For girls, it depends. Does she like to dance? They have something called rhythmic gymnastics. You can put her in there. If she wants to try gymnastics, go for that. Do you have a little scrapper for a child? Hey, maybe putting them in martial arts is good. Boxing is good. They have boxing classes for kids. I don't know, and I believe they have tournaments for them, but it's heavily sanctioned, and I know it's very stringent because these are kids. They're not meant to take a lot of punishment. I know in Thailand they have some kids have Muay Thai fights, and they start them very young. Sometimes, they do it because they have to support their families, and the money they get from these fights helps support the family. I know when it comes to Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, you have a lot of kids who's doing Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, little kids. But sometimes it's actually funny, excuse me. Seeing these little babies, like 5-year-old do Jiu-Jitsu, sometimes it's hilarious, and it's funny to watch too, because you sit there like, oh, and sometimes they don't know what they're doing. Some do, some don't, but it's just meant to let them have some fun. And I believe with I don't know the process with the little kids, but I'm pretty sure it's like they just give them both a medal and call it a day. It's just like they're little kids. What are they doing? They're just sitting there jumping around and whatnot. I know, for I think it was Taekwondo. I saw a video where these two kids were sparring. They're just jumping around. They sitting there throwing kicks, but they're not hitting each other. Everyone's sitting there laughing because they don't know. And you see the coach, you see the ref saying, "No, you gotta get closer. You gotta get closer," and they're just sitting there jumping around like they're little bunnies and whatnot. But that's also pretty good, So kids in sports, it's always good. It's always good to make sure that, as a parent, the number one thing you have to make sure is that your kid is comfortable. and to listen to your kid. If your kid feels like, oh, I don't want to do this no more, push them a little bit. But if it turns out like, yeah, I really don't want to do this no more, I'm tired of it, then they're like, all right, don't force them to do it anymore. It is hot in here.
All right. I don't think there's much wind outside. It's not thing. I'll just open this up.
Yeah. Also, it turns out we have a family of cats living in our backyard.
Yeah.
Because I was cleaning up the backyard yesterday, I wanted to, do some trimming. Of course, Mama had her kittens where I need to do the trimming, so I said, I'll come back.
Yep.
I don't want to accidentally hit the kittens. That's like bad juju. So I was just telling the audience how, when it comes to sports, listen to their kid. If the kid doesn't want to do it anymore, just say, all right, If you don't, but sometimes just to push them a little bit, maybe they're feeling down or something, but
that too.
You
have to learn.
You have to learn.
Well, how to push, when to push.
Yeah.
Because you don't want to also be wasting your money.
Yeah.
Because those sports are expensive.
Yeah. So, should we tell them about our gymnastic stories?
Well,
I think we should speak on that. So, if you are thinking of putting your child in gymnastics, right? Just know it's going to put a hole in your pocket. It's not cheap. It's very expensive, and you will be traveling a lot.
I think a couple of sports do that, but I think what needs to be said about gymnastics is it is not for the thin-skinned.
No, it is not.
The girls are very competitive. And I'm not just talking about the sport, because that is a competitive sport and you can't help yourself. But I'm talking about they are not very nice to one another. It's almost like you have to earn it. And a lot of the times the coaches don't even realize what's going on. There's a lot of tears. There's a lot of feeling
like
not,
you failed.
Yeah, but also the example that I'm trying to say is our daughter was not accepted.
Yeah,
hence. So,
you're not on.
Yeah, our daughter was not accepted because, number one, she's very good, and when she got there, the people so team, you have to be invited. And when you're invited, you have to try out a little bit, but they've already seen what you can do, and then you're in. So then you have to start doing competitions. Well, when she was in this previous gym, she was not accepted by the girls, and that's a big thing. When you're a kid, you have to feel part of the herd, and so she was not. They deliberately made sure that she was not welcomed by inviting everybody else but her to their little parties and whatever. And she would be coming home crying every night. So obviously that frustrates a parent, and you feel like you don't know what to do.
Right. Now, the one thing we did tell her is like, you want to show them off? Even though you're a team, you come in first. And guess what? When she was with that other team, because she basically came in first in everything. Mm-hmm. That's when she joined on. She came in first in everything, beating them. But of course, it got a little bit worse.
It got a lot worse.
It got worse because she was beating them.
But she didn't understand that's what the problem was. Right. So I went to the owner, and we had a big talk about it, and she did say to her, yes, they're not happy with you because you are first all the time.
And it's not her fault. It's like, look, I'm, it's not my fault that her skill level was better than them. Now, of course, as the levels go up, it was getting harder and harder. And she goes, well, I'm not getting first, I'm not getting that. And we told her, I said, well, it's getting harder. So you have to, put in you just have to put in extra work.
Harder is one thing, injury is another.
Yeah, and then she has injuries. You know, the injuries also bothers her sometimes.
Because when you twist both ankles a week apart,
yeah,
you have to rest. So that takes away from practice. She lost a month of practice, which she had to catch up on. But she still did well.
Yeah, she did well. She caught up on it.
Not as well as she wanted, but she still did very well.
Right. So sometimes you do have a child who has heartbreak about playing a sport. There was a video where there was these two friends who were on opposite team, and I think he struck his friend out. And by striking his friend out, they won. So instead of hanging out with his teammates, he went over and hugged his friend because they were friends. They go to school together. They just played on two separate teams. That's where good sportsmanship comes in.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's good sportsmanship. Now, you do have bad sportsmanship, and there are videos of that where there was one where it was actually a wrestling match where the guy, you know, he was winning. He was being a good sport and everything else. But afterwards, dude sucker punched him, which both coaches emptied up, and they were like, yo, that's not cool. And, you know, when you do stuff like that, that's not sportsmanlike. That just puts that puts a bad look on your coach. That puts a bad look on your team. You know, and you're liable to get a lifetime ban from that. You know, because the league can be like, yo, he ain't playing in this league no more.
Yeah, that's
a
possibility.
And if you have a scholarship with the college, they can pull it and say, yo, what? We don't want you here next season because of what you did. Now you just ruin your whole your life because someone beat you, you know, and you have an issue with it and this and that, and you know that's not good at all.
Some people can't control themselves, which is something that needs to be worked on by everybody.
Yeah. I mean, it's just wrong on so many levels.
Yeah. So, how's it looking?
All right, let me just finish this last one. I mean, it's
looking good.
It's looking good. I mean, we put that there. I think I'll take it up to here and then break it apart because I want to have a highlight like the water coming on here.
I kind of feel like you need to break it apart now.
Okay.
I feel like it's a good amount where it is.
Yeah.
I feel
and just
because there's not enough space for doing a whole lot more.
Yeah. So I think if we do this, all right.
Yeah, breaking it up now would be a good idea.
Yeah.
And then let's see what happens.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I asked our daughter 1,000,000 times if she wanted to quit when she was at that other gym, but she said no. This is what I love to do, and I'm just going to do it. And that, I'm telling you, that floored me because I'm like, this girl is strong. Because I would have quit.
Right.
But that also means how much she loved it.
Right.
And she was enjoying it so much that she didn't want anybody to come to be in the way of that. And that's what it's supposed to be.
Right. Now, granted, the whole team ended up going to another gym because the coach had quit.
Right.
Right. But, and you know, still had the same people giving her the same problems. But I don't think all of team.
No, what happened is when we went to the new gym,
Yeah.
I had already helped her squash what was happening.
Right.
Because I wasn't allowed to speak to the parents, which I'm a big thing about, but ended up helping her squash the whole thing, and it was a success.
Right.
So then we go to this other gym now, and a new girl decides to start with her, and that's when I squashed it right from the beginning.
Right. Because sometimes you need to just nip things in the bud, but that one girl she had issues with started up with someone else. And I'm like, girl, don't you ever learn your lesson? I'm like,
She doesn't know how to stop.
like,
So,
and this one girl is like, yo, apparently you don't know who I am because
yeah,
she's like, I'll fight you.
she doesn't mess around. But they're not allowed to do too much over there. But
Yeah.
you know, I talk to the girls who have issues with that one girl and tell them what to do.
Yeah. But that one incident, what that girl said to her, and I was like, you didn't, like, how'd you let her off with that? But I'm glad a coach heard her say that, though. Because they were like, yo, no. She said,
Yeah, it's crazy in these gyms.
Yeah.
I don't know about other sports, but this particular one, they're very...
Well, I know if she would have said that...
Because she's she's one of the 2 black girls on the team.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Right.
So they are not very happy with her. Well, they left her alone now that I've
Yeah.
squashed everything.
Right.
So, thank God.
Yeah. That's...
Because that takes away from your practice, that takes away from your concentration.
That takes away from a little bit of everything.
And these kind of sports, especially this sport where you're defying gravity, you don't have time to be thinking about, mess.
Yeah.
You have to concentrate so you don't injure yourself.
So, exactly. And that's the whole point. You have to get rid of the noise.
You have to, so
And-
that you can...
And focus on what you need to do to be successful.
Because right now, it's not only about enjoying the sport. You got new skills that you need to master. So those are hard skills. Defying gravity and all that. That's not easy.
No, it's not. And
It's definitely a mental sport. So your mind cannot be occupied with nonsense.
Mm-hmm. Like leave the garbage at the door, and then deal with it afterwards. But you know what? In all, I'm glad that she's enjoying it. I wish sometimes Joya would have the sport to.
Well, not everybody's sport.
Yeah.
Joya is like her mother.
She doesn't want to play. No, Joya
She
doesn't.
doesn't like exercise.
Right, she doesn't like to exercise. She goes, I am sweating. I don't want to do this because I don't want to sweat. And I'm like, okay.
She did. The apple doesn't fall far from the tree. So
Right.
I'll admit it to everybody. I don't like exercise, but I don't have to do it, so I do it.
Right.
Break it up more. You're keeping it together too much, I feel.
Yeah. I think that's fine.
That's fine.
Yeah, alright. So, now what we gotta do is... I actually want to copy this just in case I don't like it.
Mm-hmm.
Take that, merge that together, compound mask, transparency. Oh, almost forgot. Hold on.
Are you gonna undo something?
No. Actually, what I am going to do, I have to unlock something.
Oh.
I do want to lock you. Let me just lock you. Object lock. Good. Let me take you. Edit. Copy. Edit. Paste in front.
Is the paste in front a new thing? Because I don't remember seeing it.
No, it's always been there.
Oh well, I'm not very observant.
Yeah. Now,
Because
what?
I don't remember seeing it.
I want to do a clip mask. Make. Oh, nope, my fault. Wait, I have to put this all the way at the top. Here. All right. Clip mask. Make. There we go.
Looks nice.
Yeah. So that's not bad.
That's not bad.
I'll put some small highlights here,
Uh-huh.
like some smaller ones, just to give it a little bit thing. I just have to make it keep with the curvature. But yeah,
I'm liking the
if you notice,
background.
I put looks like jets are flying,
Uh-huh.
so that's pretty cool.
I like that.
Yeah.
I like the background.
Yeah. I was playing with the island, but I think I'm gonna leave it like that color to show for distance. Because when I look at different references, I see like sometimes it has a blue background. The island looks blue from the distance. Sometimes it looks gray because of the clouds. I think I'll keep it here just to like give it, because of the way the clouds are and because the sun is rising.
Okay, wait. What I'm not understanding is this part.
Okay, so this, I made it so that it's a wave,
Right.
and like he's on top of the wave,
Oh, okay.
and he's about to surf towards the thing,
The horizon.
towards the island. So that's
Oh,
how
the island.
yeah. So that's how I had it set up. Of course, I'm gonna have to adjust the color and whatnot, but yeah. Now this part I have here, I have to figure out, because what I want to do is I want to put a little bit of motion for the wave here to show that it's on, the water's on here, but it will be clear. So that's another thing I have to figure out. I mean, that's not too bad. Just lower the opacity, and we'll get a little something. So that's not too bad. You see what you're saying? See what I'm saying? So that's not too bad from looking at that. It's 8:04, 8:05. Yeah, so we're gonna stop here.
That's about it, folks.
Don't worry if you. There you go. If you happen to hop on late, don't worry. I'm gonna post this on again through Facebook with the link showing, so that if you want to see it from the beginning. Like I said, my computer did shut down on me, so it might have either given me two of them or like stopped it and then kept going. But anyways, thanks for joining. I'm Aaron.
Ardley here.
And we're Simon and Simon Art. Normally we would go live this Saturday, but we are going to the Anime Food Festival in Manhattan. So, if you live in Manhattan, just go on Facebook, look up Anime Food Festival. It's in Manhattan. I'm hoping to have some good food. We told the girls if they want to wear a costume, they can wear a costume. They're like, we don't have a costume. So I was like, all right, well, you're going to miss out. This is your one chance where you don't have to wait until Halloween to dress up. That's fine. But anyways, thanks for coming. Next week we'll have another discussion.
Yeah, we'll figure it out.
We'll figure out what we're discussing. This was about kids in sports and what the pros and cons were about, and I gave you my stories. And if you have any stories, leave a comment down and write your own little comment, and we'll answer you. All right?
Okay.
Have a good night. See you next time.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Oh, this thing isn't working?
What's not working? Oh, okay.
All right. I tell you.
It's not working.
Oh, wait, cancel. Oh, hold on. Stream ending. That's what I wanted. All right. Cool.